Well, I thought today I'd do something a little bit different because, well, I took a bit of stick for one of the videos that I uploaded. I think the person said that they thought that the title was misleading and that it was just a stream of consciousness, I think the words were. And, well, I sort of sympathised really. It was about the celeriac, and I think I used the title something like before you order your seeds, watch this. And I was conscious that I've been promoting the growth of celeriac on your plots and gardens for some time now. And well, it's that time of year when we order seeds, and I thought, well, I better let you know the experience I had. And that's what it was about. But I think a lot of people looked at the title and thought I was going to do a bit of a special on seeds. So if I misled anybody, I apologise. Clickbait, as it's known, is a bit of a weakness of a lot of YouTubers, and it's very tempting sometimes to get big viewing numbers, but hopefully I don't get too close to that too often. So I'm going to do a bit of a seed special today, and well, my seeds have arrived from Real Seeds, and it just occurred to me how regularly I use Real Seeds and the fact that I do get great success with their seed, and I think it's worth sharing my experience. So what I was going to do is just have a quick look at the website with you and demonstrate some of the things that I think are very impressive about that seed company. I'm aware that they don't post seeds outside of the UK, and I guess for all those people who watch my videos from other countries, that might be a bit of a turn off. But what was really interesting was that at the bottom of their website were a whole load of links to various seed suppliers that follow some of the same principles and ethics that they do. And I thought that was really forward thinking. So before you switch off, I would just hang in there and I'll show you some of the various links that they've got that demonstrate that there are people in other countries who have the same sort of principles and approach that they do. Oh well, let's have a look anyway, and you make your mind up for yourself. And I sent Real Seeds an email just asking for permission to carry this feature about their site on my channel, and they were more than pleased to do so. You can see here that they say that, of course, I can mention the website, that's fine, and do of course tell people that as well as supplying good seed, they strongly encourage and teach home seed saving, and it really is easy once you know how. And there are free materials on the website which I'll show you to learn how to do that, but it only works if you use real open pollinated non-hybrid seed, and that of course is what they sell. So thanks, Ben, thanks for giving me permission to do this, and thanks for all you do. So let's have a look at what Real Seeds website looks like. So here we are on the landing page, and we get right to the crux of the matter here. You'll find no F1 hybrids or genetically modified seed here, just varieties that do really well and taste great when grown on a garden scale. And it's a catalogue of real seeds for real gardeners wanting to grow proper veg. Well, basically all their seeds are from open pollinated, non-hybrid plants. And if you wish, you can even save your own vegetable seed for future years using the instructions that they apply. There's no need to buy new seed every year. Wow. What an opening thing to say on a website that sells seeds. And that just shows you the integrity of this company. And if you're wondering what to sow now, check out our monthly sowing guide. So let's just click on that, and you should be able to see, if my computer gets there, every month telling you just what you can sow and whereabouts you can sow it. So here we go. Let's have a look at the first part of the season, which we all get enthusiastic. in January are really, it's a month for eating your stored winter veg, so they're straight up front saying this isn't really time to grow seeds. However, there are a few things that you can sow right at the end of the month, particularly if you live in a warmer part of the country or you have a polytunnel or greenhouse. So in trays or pots, round seeded as opposed to wrinkle seeded. Never knew that. Peas can be sown from late January onwards. We always start them indoors as the mice gets them if we sow direct. And immediately you get that feeling that these guys, they're growing this stuff and eating it, and that's exactly what they are doing. Winter salads and oriental greens, as above, to plant outside under a cloche or a mini tunnel if you have somewhere reasonably sheltered that they can grow on. And onions in modules, germinate them somewhere with a little bit of heat like your windowsill. I know that there's quite a lot of YouTubers who do that, and then put them in a cold frame or an unheated greenhouse to grow on. And then if you've got a polytunnel at the end of the month, you can think about growing hardy salads or oriental greens in warmer parts of Britain, and they tell you which ones. And you know, these seeds, they're available down here in this catalogue. They only have an online presence. They no longer produce a paper catalogue in an attempt to keep the prices as low as they possibly can. So you've got that for every month. What a fantastic feature. That is already making their site incredibly useful. Okay, as promised, for all those people that are outside the UK, let's just go to delivery, and you can see here right at the bottom, disappointed we can't send seed to you. Here are some other excellent suppliers to try instead, and we've got Ireland covered there, we've got France, Spain, Austria, Germany, and the United States. So if you're not in any of those countries, you may well be able to order from those countries into your country. So there's quite a lot of great recommendations there, and I'm not going to spend an awful lot of time on those. I am going to deal with delivery quickly because their delivery service is quite unusual. They're trying to be as fair as they can in terms of shipping costs without overcharging. So they have this basic approach, which is £2.75 in the UK, but if you're ordering tubers, which obviously are that much heavier, or anything over the value of £70, then it's £3.50. But they will do a reduced rate of £1 and £2.50 if you're a low-waged or an unwaged person. And this is, you know, basically done on trust. And I just urge you to, you know, do the right thing. But anybody who's not working and is trying to keep costs to an absolute minimum, then what a fantastic proposition that is. Okay, let's go back and have a look at some of the other features. Okay, let's take a look at this hints for beginners. Now there really is a lot of beginners who watch my channel, and this is a really great guide. So don't buy too much seed. Oh, we're all guilty of that one. Read the instructions, and they add fantastic instructions. We'll take a look at them in a moment. Get a really clear gardening book, and that is one that they recommend here. And they need space, light, water. Weeds are easy to kill when small. Cold spells prevent them germinating. Learn to save your seed. We'll do a bit more of that investigation in a minute. And befriend the oldest gardener you can find. Well, that is absolutely true, because you learn so much every year you grow, and therefore the older you are, probably the more you've experienced. And of course they want you to enjoy it. So yeah, great tips for beginners in there. You can read more of that. So let's take a look at some of the sowing guides. So over here we can see the individual seeds, or at least the varieties. Let's have a look at a couple of these. Now, I looked at leeks the other day because that was an interesting one. So here in every seed type, you get a growing guide of what's the normal sowing and harvest time, and what's also possible if you've got particularly good conditions. So my conditions are always challenging, so I don't necessarily look at the also possible indicator. But here we go. So you sow these in March through to the end of April, and you start cropping them anywhen from October here. And I cropped most of mine in this area this year because they were not particularly great following the heat that we had in the summer. But you know, hopefully you can crop all the way through to January and February, and I have done that very successfully with leeks. And then on here you've got your types of leeks listed in order of harvest. How fantastic is that? How long do we normally spend trying to work out what varieties we can get succession from? And here it is on the page. So if you start with this variety, then you're likely to harvest that earlier than this one right at the bottom here. And each of these is given a little bit of information. This is a traditional leek grown in western France. It grows quickly. Get it in early, and it's ready right at the start of the winter, making short, fat leeks in autumn. Normally would be harvested before the really hard frosts start, as it's not very cold hardy. So all that important information. This one, stock not available till 2023. So just shows you how this stuff is moving out or was in very short supply. But at the moment, there's plenty of these others, 100 plus in stock. And if I look down there, I've grown Bleu de Soleil, a blue winter leek. I've grown Mézières, long winter leek, and I've grown the giant Bulgarian leek. So yeah, it's each year you can have a go at trying different things. And this one's really interesting, this giant Bulgarian leek. The gentleman who grows this or has provided the initial seed for them to work from has his own blog. And yeah, loads of great information. And wow, what a leek that he's got there. Okay, let's just take a look at one more. You can see there's so many different options here, but I'm going to look at onions, so normal onions. And hey, there's a great deal of information here. Easy option is indoors, and you know, it says that you can grow indoors on trays from early January and February with some heat so that they get going early, and then transplant them, and it gives you the detail of that. The other common ways to sow seed outdoors directly, in this case you should wait till late March or March when the soil's warmed up a bit, or a bit harder is if you overwinter onions, and there's a gamble because you can lose some, but they do give you really big onions at the end, and all that information and a bit more is all in there. And my personal favorite is to grow in the polytunnel, so you actually get to the situation where you find a sort of midway point between growing them indoors with some heat and growing them outdoors, and that enables you to, well, get them going early. And it might take a little while for them to germinate, but they do come. That's my experience. So you know, there are approaches that are different to these, but this is really good guidance for people generally. Okay, so let's take a look at the seed saving elements in this site. So here we've got why save your own seed, and we've touched on that a little bit, because the main feature being, of course, you don't have to continually buy seeds. So that's a fantastic reason. But there's also lots of other reasons here which you can read about. Let's go back here. So how to save seed, and here we've got a free booklet. So you can download a 5-page free seed saving booklet. There's a large print version, there's a basic version, and then there's a whole load of books that you can look into purchasing that support more detailed information about saving seed. I've got this one here. It's excellent, and you can, well, just learn so much. Some of them are more complicated than others, and some of them take a bit of dedication, but some of them are really simple and very straightforward. There's a little bit here about drying seed and the best ways of achieving a good seed that will germinate the following year. And then a load of information here about the methods that they use for sowing, a guide to summer sowing, a guide to autumn and winter sowing, and various other really interesting articles. So there's some free material there, and also some other material that you can expand in if you've got that interest. But does it save you money? It sure does. I think my favorite runner bean, let's see if they've got it. Any of you that watch my channel will know what it is. It's called Czar runner beans. Here we go. And let's have a look. What have we got? Czar right at the top, and they've got 100 plus in stock. A fantastic bean that I've bought once and never bought again, and I've been growing it for years. So good luck finding the things that you want and enjoying the fact that you can save the seed year on year. Let's just take a look at their guarantee, and this is pretty amazing from a seed company. In essence, they're guaranteeing their seed from all angles. They guarantee their seeds from 1 year, and if you're not completely happy with the seeds, plants, or even the taste of the resulting crop, they'll cheerfully replace your seed or refund your money, whichever you prefer. Well, I can guarantee that I've never had to use it. I've always been absolutely delighted with everything that I've bought from Real Seeds, and I'm pretty confident that you will too. But if you're not, then they've got you covered. So thanks, Ben and Kate. It's a great site. You do great things, and I thoroughly enjoy using the seeds that you grow. Well, I have to chuckle. The number of times I've had to record this to get it right is significantly greater than when I'm outside in the plot, but there we are. So I've had my Real Seeds delivery, and I'll show you what I've got. Inside there's that information sheet, which is really very useful. Every single seed you've ordered, there's a bit about seed saving for it, so it's a good record to have of all your seed purchases and what actions you need to take. Great service from Real Seeds. So the seeds I've ordered are Globo, the large mild onion, which is a fantastic onion. It seems to be relatively resilient to white rot, which I've got in my plot, as long as you take care and you're prepared for some losses. But if you haven't got white rot, fantastic. And you know, it's indicated that it's not a great storing onion generally, but I find that it stores really well, and I've got some in my garage now, and they're as firm as the day I took them out of the soil, and they're enormous. A fantastic onion. I'll probably never have a season without trying to grow some. A lot of people ask me about what swede I grow. This year has been particularly good. Nice round swede, and size determined basically upon the distance you have between each of your plants. But this year I thought I'd grow something different because I enjoy it, and Champion Swede from Real Seeds is what I've plumped for, and you can take a look at the detail about that on their site. House Dwarf Cherry Tomato. Anybody who watches my channel will know I love this tomato, and I have saved a few seeds for it, but I've not had great success because my process wasn't brilliant. So I did order a few more. You don't get many in a packet, but then you don't need too many. And I have grown these from season to season. So that's those. I'm going to do something slightly different with growing tomatoes in the polytunnel this year. I'll cover that in a later video. But I'm going to grow Buck Flats Wonder short vine tomato. Now, I don't like getting to the position in the polytunnel where the vines grow up really high and over, and you have to deal with the curvature of the polytunnel. So I've always grown sort of bush varieties, but this year I'm going to try this short vine tomato and see what success I get with that. So that's what I'm growing, some of what I'm growing, and they're the ones I've ordered so far from Real Seeds. I can't say there won't be another order, because there might well be. Well, the light has gone past my window, but it's still beautiful out there, so I think I'm going to get outside. There it is, another hard frost this week. Most mornings are like this. Pretty marvellous actually. Cold, freezing cold, but beautiful, clear blue skies. But the frost is pretty heavy stuff today. Well, I've been worrying about my empty compost bins because, well, it's pretty late. It's well into December and I've not heard anything from my supplier of manure. I'm getting a little bit concerned, but this morning the call came and I was asked if I could go and pick up a trailer full. So that's exactly what I did and brought it round, and it's waiting for me at the allotment gates. And well, I'm going to get warm because it's quite an active pastime. But there we are, a complete trailer of horses what name, and I'm looking forward to getting that into the bins and, well, seeing how it looks. So, with no further ado, I'm going to get underway. Well, there was definitely no risk of getting cold. That's quite an effort, but really worthwhile and quite reassuring for the future of the plot. I wanted to show you the sort of things that are in here because people wonder what I'm actually putting in here. And there's quite a lot of this wood chip bedding, which obviously is for the horses, and it basically soaks up a lot of urine, so there's a lot of urine in it. Of course, there's lumps of horse manure, and there's also some wheat and various seeds. And the risk is, of course, that those seeds get into your beds and then proliferate. But the reality is, if you can get the temperature up, not a problem. It kills all the weed seed and, well, the compost. 1 year later, that's what it looks like. Absolutely gorgeous from that to that in 1 year. And you have to be patient, but if you can do enough volume, then it works out really well. Now, you might have wondered why I didn't put everything in one of the bins, and that probably would have been very successful, because when you get the critical mass of it, you get the volume, then the heat starts to generate. But this compost will lower every week by a significant amount, and that will enable me to keep wheelbarrowing and just tipping up rather than shoveling on the top. So there's a bit of selfishness there in terms of the workload, but it'll all be just fine. It'll gradually build up across the three, and the heat will rise. I've covered them, and I'm going to cover this one, and I do that basically to keep the heat in and to keep the rain out, and that way I tend to get the best success rate. So it's early days, but come another cold winter's day, when I lift off these covers, you'll see the steam rising. Well, I think I've had enough effort now. I've got to return the trailer and other things to do. Good times.